Hello everyone, today we're talking black and white, and how to make a better black and white conversion. We'll use a set of presets and styles from Capture One in Lightroom, and these ones are from Printique. They're called Printique Noir. We'll first start by opening Lightroom Classic. Now these presets will work in Lightroom Classic, but also on Lightroom Mobile. Now at the top you'll see our different modules. We'll go with the Develop module. We can click D as a shortcut to that. And over on the presets dropdown, you'll see we can add new presets, import here, and I already have the Printique Noir loaded in. Now these are base conversions, meaning that they're going to get your image really close to where you want to be, but you can still do adjustments the same way you would if you just use the saturation slider. Now you'll notice as I hover over these, it shows each one of the conversions in real time, which is really convenient. If I were to go over to this image, say you did want to change this to black and white, I think the color is really beautiful on this, but I think the mistake a lot of people make is turning the saturation slider down and leaving it there. The problem is, even if I add contrast to this, it just is kind of overall flat. Whereas if I start with a base conversion, what it's doing is actually separating the color channels. So we have a little bit more to work with here. If I wanted to go in, adjust the contrast here, the tone curve, I can do all of those things from a much better place. This is kind of where the magic happens here, in the black and white mix. In here, what I can do is adjust these different channels to really make different parts of the image stand out, which in a black and white image is really important. Now, all of the same adjustments that we have in Lightroom, we also have in Capture One. It just kind of depends on your preference for the program. So in here you see we have the same set of images, but in Capture One, the presets are actually called styles. And if we go here to the Adjustments tab, we can quickly and easily import the styles in a very similar way. Once we have them imported, you'll see that we actually can do the same exact thing where we scroll over and we see them real time. And I'll kind of explain on this image what each one does in depth. So PN1 is a really cool base conversion that's really similar to maybe like a Kodak Tri-X film stock. PN2 has a lot more contrast. This one I think is great for maybe architecture, landscapes, some portraits if that's your preferred style, or depending on the lighting in the image. PN3 is a really gritty one. It emulates like a very grainy film stock, maybe something that's pushed to 800 or 1600 ISO. There's a lot of detail in it, a lot of grit, and it's pretty cool. PN4 is really a dreamy one. It kind of reminds me of like an infrared conversion, where anything that's red or orange in the image will feel very soft and bright. It can be really cool for portraits. I think for her in this instance, I would want to keep more of her skin tone just because she has those cool freckles going on. So I don't think it'd be the best one for this image, but there are others that it's really great for. And then finally, PN5 is a really warm, rich conversion, which I think we'll go ahead and use on this image. Now, you'll see we can go over here and still adjust all of the things we would have adjusted before. I think in here I'd like to see a little bit more detail in the shadows. Lift those up just a bit. A little bit of clarity, and actually the structure here could bring out her freckles a bit. This is one you have to be careful not to go too far with, but in moderation it's really cool. And obviously then we also have our curves. On this one I think we can maybe just brighten it just a bit. And finally our film grain. Now if you don't have film grain or any of these up on your main tab, what you can do is add a tool by right clicking here and finding that option. Now, an important part of a black and white image, more than just the contrast and the form, is the actual texture of the image. So if we go up here, we can see at 100%, this is a good view to find how much grain we have in our image. Now, this is purely preference. Some people don't like any grain in their image. I personally prefer a little bit, especially in Capture One. The silver rich option is really cool. It emulates actual black and white silver grain. It's a pretty good conversion. And really quickly, just like that, I have an image that I can print really well out of black and white, and it's gonna look good. One other quick tip that I'd give you in working in black and white is to adjust your background often. And what I'm doing is I'm right clicking and I'm going through different modes. Dark mode might be a great place to start as you're editing, but keep in mind that when people see things on Instagram or on social media, they're usually viewing it on a white background. So I often like to switch back and forth and see at least what people will view when they're scrolling on social media. Alright, that's it. Those are the quick tips for converting your black and white images using Printique Noir presets.